How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. My name is Chad. With me, as usual, is Leonard. This is a show about wrestling, and we are bringing back one of our old favorites, and that would be Fever Dreams. It has been a little around 4 months since
Oh,
our
wow.
last Fever Dreams.
Oh.
Our 100th episode celebration took many weeks to finish, and our last one, Leonard, if you recall, was Fever Blast,
Mm-hmm.
which is a take on Beach Blast, and as such, I marked in my notes, where we left off with that, but I had to go back and just refresh my memory just in case I missed something. But in case you are new to this, we're going to explain a little bit about what Fever Dreams are. This Fever Dreams, Leonard, I'm calling it New Year's Nightmare because depending on when this posts, it'll probably be around before or after New Year's.
Sure.
I figured I like New Year's Nightmare better than New Year's Revolution or Day One or whatever that stupid pay-per-view is called. What do you think? It rolls off the tongue, right?
Yes, it's a lot. It seems very more ECW.
There you go. I like it.
Yes.
So
Although I would suggest, well, she's not. She might be on the card. I would say a Molly Holly Christmas.
I like it.
I saw that online somewhere just recently, but she may not be on the card. So,
and as this is a New Year's themed episode, I am going to be drinking on this one. I've got my WrestleFest glass ready to go. I don't know what Leonard has.
I do have my WrestleFest glass. And at the time of this recording, we are experiencing frigid temperatures coming in. So I'm drinking orange juice with coconut rum and pineapple rum. So I'm going tropical.
I like it. I like it just to make yourself feel warmer, right?
Right, like what you would be drinking out of like a coconut with the umbrella on the beach, down in Florida.
Well, Fever Dreams, just to let everybody know, in case this is your first time listening to us, Fever Dreams came out of a picture that we had on Facebook, that we saw on Facebook of 4 random wrestlers. It asked, who do you think would win in a match? And so that kind of where this idea sprouted. That's what this show is. We basically will take random generated names. We have a list of female names, male names, gimmicks, stables, managers, random belts, so on and so forth. And we put those into a random name generator, and based on what comes out, we will debate who we think would win. Right, Leonard?
Yes, more or less. And we agree a lot of times. Sometimes we don't, but it's usually a lot of fun. Because, again, to reiterate, these are random. We don't know what we're going to get. Sometimes we get marquee matchups, and sometimes we don't.
So, for those who are just joining us for the first time, currently we have the authority version of Seth Rollins as the AWA heavyweight champion, because of course he is.
Mm-hmm.
We have Queen Charlotte Flair as the FDW women's champ. That's the Fever Dream Wrestling Championship. We have the Mega Powers Foundation as the FDW Tag Team Champions. And we have Bruno Sammartino as the FTW Universal Champ. He defeated Triple H, the Reign of Terror version of Triple H.
That's tough to do.
That's right.
It should be mentioned the Mega Powers Foundation is Terrence Bollea and Randall Poffo, and managed by Alexandra York.
That's right, and it never ceases to make me laugh. Actually, I think if memory serves, they kind of like kicked her to the curb. In our last one, I believe.
Oh, perhaps. But that's how we got to them being the York Foundation. Was right. Because they were arranged by her. Now they may no longer have her, but they're still the York Foundation.
That's correct.
Yes.
So,
or the Mega Powers Foundation, as it were.
That's right. And we're going to give you a little bit of a warm-up dark match here that will be chosen at random by Leonard. I don't know what he's going to give me.
Yeah.
But Leonard, why don't you kick it off?
Sure thing. Well, you said I could do any sort of dark matches. So I actually generated 3 dark matches. I did a men's, women's, and a tag, which we don't have to do all of those, but I thought that would make sense. So anyway, the first one, and then we'll decide if we want to do the others. El Bandy versus Shawn Michaels with no hair.
Okay. Shawn Michaels with no. So refresh everybody on who El Dandy is.
So, first of all, who are you to doubt El Dandy in this matchup upcoming with Shawn Michaels no hair? El Dandy was one of the many Mexican cruiserweights that were in WCW during the mid to late 1990s, and his biggest claim to fame was probably an interview where Bret Hart was talking about all the people he would rather face, and I actually forget who it was now, and he mentioned El Dandy, which kind of was questioned by Mean Gene Okerlund, and Bret Hart said, "Who are you to doubt El Dandy?" And that became a meme and a famous quote and all that. Shawn Michaels with no hair would be late version Shawn Michaels. That would probably be the only bald Shawn Michaels match would have been the one at Crown Jewel, him and Triple H versus the Brothers of Destruction, or was he bald at some other previous point? I don't think so.
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so we're talking late, old, crotchety, one match under his belt, Shawn Michaels.
Now compared to Old Man Marley from Home Alone and memes.
Yes. So Old Man Marley, Shawn Michaels versus El Dandy.
Well, this version of Shawn Michaels is certainly the weakest of his entire career. So I'm not as versed on the matches of El Dandy, but I know enough about him to say I think El Dandy takes this.
I would agree, just because El Dandy is younger, he's faster. Now, if this was in his prime, Shawn Michaels versus El Dandy, this would probably be like a surprise match on Superstars, or
right.
Like you would watch it and go, "Wow, that was actually really good." But yeah, I actually think El Dandy. This might be Shawn Michaels. Like maybe El Dandy's in NXT. And Shawn Michaels wants to give him a workout, and that's why this is a dark match. Like he wants to just kind of see what El Dandy's got. That might be what we got here. So I think he'd want to put El Dandy over if that's the point. So
absolutely,
I agree with El Dandy. So I did generate another one. I have a women's match: Madison Rayne versus Peyton Royce.
Madison Rayne versus Peyton Royce.
Yeah, Madison Rayne is currently, at the time of this recording, with AEW as a women's coach and on-air talent. Of course, she wrestled the bulk of her career with TNA. And Peyton Royce was one part of the Iconics with Billy Kay in WWE. I know they went to TNA at one point. I'm not exactly sure where they are now.
I think they retired.
They retired, okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think they called it quits.
Okay. Well, I always like Peyton Royce better than Billy Kay. And, of course, as we've talked, I think we talked about before, I've interviewed Madison Rayne many times over the years because she's from my local area. So my heart is more with Madison Rayne. I think Madison Rayne's a very underrated talent, veteran. I didn't say what version of Madison Rayne this is, but if we're saying even current day version, that is a version with a lot of years of experience under her belt. She can still go. She has wrestled a great variety of women, and not to take anything away from Peyton Royce, who I really do like, but I think Peyton Royce very much came up under the WWE system and the WWE style. And again, most commonly linked with Billy Kay and working a tag team with Billy Kay. So I think this might be similar to Shawn Michaels. Maybe Madison Rayne as coach is giving Peyton Royce a workout.
Right.
In the dark match, I don't know, but I would go with Madison Rayne here.
See, I'm almost want to pick Peyton Royce because I think overall she's stronger because I like Madison Rayne, but she came up in that TNA system, and if you're talking about the Madison Rayne of today, and most people know that she's a coach in AEW, and like one of the things that I wish AEW would do is I wish they would give her a win or two, just so people give that aspect of her background, the fact that she's a coach, some credibility, because right now whenever she appears that she's going to lose. Because she just wants to put over the new girls, and I get that totally, but I do think this would be a close match though. I could lean your way and say that if we're talking about prime Madison Rayne, I might give her the victory because of the reasons you listed, that Peyton Royce is more of a tag team worker, but I do think this would be close.
Okay, yeah, I do, and even if we do want to go the route that you mentioned, if this is her giving Peyton Royce a workout, then Peyton Royce might wind up getting the win. So, I think we're both saying this is we're going to give Rayne the win, but it's going to be a nice showing from Peyton Royce. I think that's where we're at.
That's right. Now, should we jump into our main card?
Yes, we can go ahead and do that.
All right. So our main card, it actually doesn't have anything, at least right now, that we need to randomly generate. But the Authority version of Seth Rollins is currently our AWA champion. And the reason he is because, like I said, we have a random list of random belts. And that's the belt that was listed, and he acquired it. So he can use it to cash in on a title match. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
He is still the champion. But the winner of our 6-pack challenge from Fever Blast was the Dynamite Kid, and so he will be facing the Authority version of Seth Rollins. And I am going to start off this here by simply saying that I think that this would be a really, really good match. I think that these guys, like, maybe don't have the same style, but I think that they would complement each other in a big way. I do think that Dynamite Kid is just a little bit more aggressive and gung-ho. So I would probably give Dynamite Kid the win here. What do you think, Leonard?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really strong match. And I think that a lot of people might only consider Dynamite Kid as a tag wrestler with British Bulldog because they didn't get to see a lot of the single stuff that he was doing. And it was very revolutionary for the time and for the weight class that he was in. Seth Rollins, the Authority figure version, I think he's gotten a lot better since that point, as a personality and as a wrestler. Again, experience and age.
Leonard, I have to cut you off. There's a sudden run-in. If you recall from last year, we have Christmas characters. And so we have a run-in from our Christmas characters list, and it is 2 gremlins.
Two gremlins. Are they? So they're gonna.
Nobody really knows what they're gonna do, but
I think they're gonna attack both guys. They're chaos, so they're not gonna go for one guy or the other. I think they attack both guys, and with both guys down, it's who gets up first and who capitalizes.
Right.
And I think that might be Dynamite Kid. I think the version of Dynamite that we're talking about is younger and faster than Seth. So I'm gonna go with Dynamite Kid still winning, and with the Gremlins just causing chaos.
All right. So that means Dynamite Kid has the AWA championship. We'll see if what he decides to do with it.
All right.
Our next match, our FDW Women's Champion Queen Charlotte Flair, and she will be facing in a fatal 4-way here. One of the people is Awesome Kong, who won the number 1 contenders match, but there will be 2 random names also included in the fatal 4-way, and a gimmick attached. Leonard is going to draw the gimmick. I am going to draw the names.
Yes.
Leonard, why don't you tell everybody what the gimmick is?
The gimmick is a parking lot brawl.
Ooh, all right. Oh my goodness, Leonard, you will be excited about this.
Yes.
It is Queen Charlotte Flair versus Awesome Kong versus Sherry Martel versus Molly Holly Christmas.
Yes.
And it'll be in a parking lot brawl. So I'm gonna let you start this one off.
You know what? Given the stipulation, I think this favors Awesome Kong. She's the big badass brawler of all these women. I feel like Sherry and Molly are going to pair off, and that Charlotte and Awesome Kong are going to pair off. That just feels like the natural kind of combination to me. Although, too, I could kind of see maybe like Awesome Kong taking out. Maybe she views Molly as the weakest and goes after Molly first.
It's Molly Holly Christmas.
Yeah. I think Molly goes through a windshield.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Molly's going to go through a windshield.
Short Christmas for her then.
Yeah, I think she's going to try to do like the Molly go round, like off the top of a car, and Awesome Kong's going to catch her and just power bomb her through a windshield. So Molly's going to die. Molly's dead.
Okay.
I would love to see Charlotte and Sherry just do something straight up one-on-one. I think that would be a great match there.
That's definitely a dream match.
Yeah. I think Charlotte is crafty. I think she would be kind of like, you would lose sight of her. Like she would sneak off somewhere and then like come back and attack with something from the parking lot. This comes down to Charlotte Flair and Awesome Kong. I think that actually be tight between the two of them. You can argue me towards Charlotte if you want to, but I'm going to go Kong just because of the size and the power and the fact that this type of match, I think, favors someone with her size and power.
Well, I'm going to take you in a completely different direction, Leonard, because I think this type of environment actually favors Sherry.
Okay.
Here's why. Because think about all the random Falls Count Anywhere brawls she would get involved in with Harlem Heat.
Yes.
Just think about Sherry herself. She knows how to fight dirty, and she's always portrayed a crazy character. So bringing weapons into the fray, or even if it's a parking lot, a car,
and she did fight Medusa in a parking lot when they were
right
over the rights to love Robert Fuller, as it were, or Robert Parker at the time.
Right. What a classic WCW
yes.
that was. So I don't know. I kind of have to pick Sherry here. So that would mean that we need to settle this in a future Fever Dreams.
Yeah, I would say, how about this? Here's what we do. I think because of the type of match this is, we're gonna have multiple referees, right? I think Sherry is pinning Molly at the same time that Kong is pinning Flair. I think it's a double pin. And
so
the belt is held up.
The belt is held up. That's what I was gonna say. The belt is vacated.
The belt is vacated until Kong and Sherry can have a match to crown the new champion.
I like it. All right. Well, okay. So our next match is, I think, a first here, but we're going to do it, and it is for our FDW Tag Team Championships. So this is going to be a gauntlet match, and the Mega Powers Foundation are on top, and basically what we're going to do is Leonard is going to generate a random, 4 different tag teams.
4 different tag teams, yes.
And I have predetermined what order these teams will come in. Okay. And the Mega Powers Foundation got the first draw. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for them, they got the number 1 slot. So this being a gauntlet match, the champions are going to have to run the gamut.
Okay.
And I'm really anxious to see who comes out. So that means as you read the names of the tag teams, I will tell you in which spot they will be entering. So.
All right. So I generated stuff ahead of time for people who may be watching us on YouTube and see I'm not pressing buttons, because we have found that my computer runs very slow and I have all these windows open. So the teams in the order that they spit out for me, we have the BWO of Stevie Richards and Nova.
Okay, so they're going to be coming in last.
Okay, good draw. We have the Perfect Event of Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo.
They will be coming in at number 3.
We have Team Hell No of Kane and Daniel Bryan.
They will be coming in at number 4.
And we have Christian's Coalition of Christian and Tyson Tomko.
So our first match will be Christian's Coalition against the Mega Powers Foundation. So I would say that I think the Mega Powers are going to win this one fairly easily.
Yes. I kind of like the idea of like Savage versus Christian and Tomko versus Hogan. Like individually. I think Savage and Hogan win those matches individually. But I like the idea of those matches. As a tag team, I would have to agree with you. The Mega Powers are just like too strong. They're going to be fresh at this point. And if we're booking from a logical standpoint, you don't want the champs to go out at the very beginning of the gauntlet match. So, yes, I would say they win, and in fairly short order.
Right. And that would mean that they would face the Perfect Event next, as that team comes in at number 3. So we have the Mega Powers Foundation against the Perfect Event. And, again, I think Chuck Palumbo is a little bit underrated, but Sean Stasiak, other than having a good tan and looking good. He never really impressed me very much in the ring. He is, commonly associated with that late WCW, like Invasion WWE era time period where some guys were falling through the cracks. So I see this again going the way of the champions. We're talking Hogan and Savage, Balia and Poffo.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that. I think Stasiak and Palumbo, and if you want to, Sean O'Hare in there, who's a running buddy of theirs, had a lot of potential. But they came out of the WCW power plant, which I've never heard anyone say anything good about the power plant in any, podcast or anything like that. People who were around and knew of it and was knowledgeable of it. And I think they, had potential, but didn't live up to it. And yeah, even especially if you consider that they got through Christian and Tomko in short order, they're still fairly fresh. And yeah, I think this is a shorter match. I think they probably put away the perfect event quicker than they did Christian and Tomko.
All right. So they are 2 teams in here. Champions are still on top, but now they are going to be facing Team Hell No of Kane and Daniel Bryan, which is, other than the Brothers of Destruction, who they faced on our last Fever Dreams, this would probably be one of their toughest tests, especially at this point in the gauntlet match. You have Kane and a very peak Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
So obviously I see this going with Daniel Bryan with Savage, which, my goodness, is a dream match.
Yeah, if we talk Christian and Savage, I would, Bryan and Savage is even better.
Yeah. Kane and Hogan, I don't know if they ever faced each other.
That's a good question. I don't know, because there was that run where he came back in 03?
Right.
Well,
around.
Yeah, I try to remember the years he was back, but they definitely coexisted at the same time period.
And you know what? That would be a good. That's the type of heel, a big guy that you would see with Hogan anyway.
Yeah, back in the glory days. Yeah,
I have to say, being that we're talking about Poffo and Balia, they're tired. They've wrestled 2 matches. I see Daniel Bryan being the X factor here. That is what I see.
I like the storyline of seeing Kane and the Brothers of Destruction got beat by the Mega Powers Foundation. So Kane goes and he finds a new tag team partner. Right. And he finds someone who's basically the opposite of Undertaker. Not this, different style wrestler, smaller guy, quicker guy, all this. So I think I like the idea that Kane shifted gears in bringing in Daniel Bryan. And I agree, if this was the first match, maybe, but being the fact that they've gone through 2,
yeah,
I'm gonna go with you. I think that Kane and Daniel Bryan get the win, and the Mega Powers Foundation just flip their lids. I think they just go crazy.
I agree, and so there's probably brawling at the end of this match. You would see.
Yes.
And that means that Team Hell No, who, after a pretty decent length match against the champions, are going up against the BWO
of Stevie, Richards, and Nova. Hey, 2 underrated guys. I love Richards and Nova. Good workers, good wrestlers. Nova totally was very innovative. And I think both are, Richards is underrated on the mic.
I don't see the BWO being able to win here, though.
I know. I was kind of playing devil's advocate. And even though the only thing I could see would be if, say, on their way out the door, the Mega Powers took out Kane. Like if they destroyed Kane, beat him with chairs, and it's Daniel Bryan basically 2-on-1. But even with that, I think Bryan holds on, and I think Kane makes the miraculous recovery at the end.
At the very end, I like it.
Tags in and then choke slams them both and gets the win. So, it's kind of anticlimactic. Basically,
as most of these gauntlet matches tend to be.
Yes.
Nobody really remembers the end. They usually remember, who won.
Yeah, the first match is usually the best because that's the one that usually goes so long and et cetera.
The best one that I can remember in recent memory is the one that really was able to push Kofi Kingston over the top as.
Oh yeah, that one was good. That was a really good gauntlet match.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have new FDW Tag Team Champions. It is Team Hell No And obviously this will set up a match between Team Hell No and the Mega Powers Foundation at a later event. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, straight up, one-on-one. Definitely the Mega Powers are going to say, hey, we were tired. We went through 2 other teams. And I'm sure they have a automatic rematch clause. Alexandra would have worked that out before they kicked her to the curb.
Absolutely.
So they're coming back.
Absolutely. So our next match is a number 1 contenders match for the ladies. It is a triple threat match. Okay. So this is this is an interesting pairing. So our triple threat match, number 1 contender, consists of the heel version of Sable.
Okay.
Jade Cargill, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. So,
and running in is Christy Hemme.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. And since this is Christmas, we'll say she's dressed like an elf.
I like it.
Like she's in one of those like WWE Santa's helper outfits. Then they used to do the Santa helper matches.
Absolutely. And on a side note, I saw a clip randomly came across my Facebook wall the other day of Christy Hemme. I think this is back when she was still doing the, whatever it was, the Tough Enough or, the Diva
Search.
Search.
The Diva Search, I believe, is how she came in. Was a Diva Search.
And she had Randy Orton in the ring, like I guess reveal her lingerie, and he was tasked with taking off her dress in the middle of the ring to reveal her lingerie. And all I could think about in watching that clip was like, this MFer got paid to do this. like I know he has a wife and a happy family, but like he got paid to do that. Like, anyway, it bothers me. It should bother you too.
Because you want to be paid to do that.
Yeah.
Well, if you called Mandy Rose, I know that she's looking for some extras for her site. So.
And this brings up another side tangent here. Like the recent news of her, not just her being fired, but like the fact that she is, since getting released, is made like over $500,000 on that fan site
within like two weeks, I believe it was. And I think something like $30 a pop is the subscription rate, but I think
it was 30. I think she upped it to 45. Whatever.
Okay, and then I think she can make like tips and bonus money different ways, things like that.
Yeah, because it's kind of like only
like OnlyFans, but it's a different
right. And I bring that up because Lana, who's not been associated with any company, has said that she's made more from doing that same type of fan site than she has when she worked at WWE, which is just crazy. It just goes to show you, like,
wrestling fans are horny pervs that live in their mom's basements.
Yeah, they are. They really are. It's true. So anyway, where were we? Sable, Britt Baker, Jade Cargill.
With Christy Hemme run in.
Who do we think Christy Hemme is trying to be? My gut would tell me that she'd be in there to help Sable.
My gut would say Sable because they were, I think heel Sable might have been near Christy Hemme, if not around at the same time. But
do we think that helps Sable?
I don't think it does.
No,
I don't think it does at all. I think Cargill has a lot of potential, and I think she's grown a lot in the short time that she's been in the business from what I've seen. But Britt Baker, I think, is one of the best female wrestlers going today. She's definitely probably one, if not the best, one of the top 3 or 4 that AEW has. Yep. Good promo. I like how she's developed. When she first became a heel, it didn't seem like she knew what she was doing. She grew into the role. I definitely go with Britt Baker here. I think Hemme actually hurts Sable. I think Hemme, her interference backfires and it allows Baker to pin Sable.
And I could also see a situation where Hemme comes in to interfere and it annoys Jade Cargill to the point where Jade Cargill is distracted and somehow or another Britt Baker either pins Sable or pins Jade Cargill as a result of the distraction.
Either or, but I think we agree that Hemme's interference would backfire.
Yes, and I do think Britt Baker's the strongest here. In terms of AEW and like the fact that Jade Cargill is the TBS champ. I'm still waiting for them to, move her and her undefeated streak to the main women's part of that organization, just to see her kind of mix it up with some of those top names like Britt Baker. But we'll see. But yeah, I see Britt Baker winning here and being the number one contender, which who knows when she's going to get to have that match, because we got Awesome Kong and
right.
Gary Martel. So next, we have a men's fatal four-way, and there are no gimmicks, but Leonard is drawing the names.
Yeah.
So, Leonard, who do you have for us?
Fandango versus Bully Ray versus Prototype John Cena versus Enzo Amore.
This is this is not a number one contenders match. We didn't say that.
Yeah. I think this is just a four-way. It's just a four-way for having a four-way, I think.
So, okay. Let's say those names again, because I was just kind of shocked at the randomness there.
Okay, so yes. So we have Fandango, who is, of course, Johnny Curtis as the dancing heel suave dude. Bully Ray, who is the TNA version of Bubba Ray by himself as a singles competitor heel dude. Prototype John Cena, which is Cena in OVW when he was starting out and learning the ropes. And then Enzo Amore, who is best known for his tag team with Big Cass in WWE.
I definitely see this going the way of Bully Ray. The only person that would kind of hold a candle to maybe challenging him in this match is Prototype John Cena, who is just so green that I don't see him winning. Fandango had a moment in the sun at WrestleMania when Chris Jericho generously put him over, but I definitely Bully Ray was a time when he was really physically fit, probably the most in his life. That heel character was working there. And so, yeah, I definitely see Bully Ray winning this.
Yeah, and I think it might be over one of the lesser guys like Fandango or Enzo, because, I mean, again, trying to book logically, I think Ray versus Cena, Prototype Cena, could be something you could work toward. This is how you're going to get green, new John Cena over, putting him with the veteran heel Bully Ray. But I like Bully to win here, but maybe have something going on where a Cena-Ray match could be in the future.
Absolutely. So our main event is for the FDW Universal Championship. Our champion is Bruno Sammartino, and he will be facing the corporate version of The Rock after his long feud with Bret Hart.
Yes.
So The Rock is finally getting that title shot, and the stipulation on this match, being that this is a New Year's show, is that this is an exploding barbed wire New Year's countdown match, which means the match is going to have to go until midnight when it counts down to the new year, and at the same time, the ring explodes. So there will be managers attached to this, which Leonard will generate. So who are those managers? So
The Rock has Precious, who is Jimmy Garvin's valet and wife. And Bruno Sammartino has Paul Bearer. Ooh. So the under Bruno is what I'm going to call him. So under Bruno has Paul Bearer. I would say of those two, Paul Bearer would be, not that he interfered a lot in the Undertaker's matches, but Precious just stood at ringside. So I think the manager definitely favor Bruno Sammartino.
I agree. Do you think that changes the outcome of the match?
It's hard to say, because being that it is what it is, I don't think either of the managers are going to really do a lot. I don't think they're going to be very much involved with this. I lean towards Bruno. Corporate Rock was a hell of a character, but Bruno Sammartino was definitely the better wrestler of the two. He's tough as hell. He's tough as nails. If a ring's going to explode, Bruno's is one of those guys that are probably not going to care. He's going to stand right in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, after all, this is a guy that hid from the Nazis with his family in the mountains of Italy.
Yes. So an exploding ring doesn't faze Bruno. I go with Bruno.
I agree. I think it is not necessarily a landslide victory here, but, because The Rock has been, this version of The Rock has been in good match, like matches with hardcore stipulations, I quit matches, and empty arena matches and whatnot. So he certainly knows this type of terrain. But I agree that of the two, I think it comes down to toughness, like you said, and I think Bruno is the tougher of the two, and the managers aren't a factor. I mean, maybe Paul Bearer tries to hit the Rock with the urn, but other than that, I don't think he'd be much of a factor. I mean, it's a barbed wire match after all.
Yeah, like he can't really get into the ring. So
right. So yeah, I think Bruno retains here. We both agree on that.
We both agree on that, and I don't think Dynamite Kid cashes in.
That was going to be my next question.
I don't think he. Now this would probably be a good time. This is a bloodied Bruno. This is a really trashed Bruno. But the ring blew up. So I think logical booking, there's no ring to have a match now. Right. I think maybe I would have Dynamite Kid come out to the entrance stage and be like,
well, when I put this in our list in my head, I thought to myself, could we have treated it like a Seth Rollins at WrestleMania situation where he inserts himself as into the match and it's a triple threat? But
no, I don't think Kid's going to do that. I think Kid just lets you know that he's there.
He would challenge you straight up.
Yes, I think he would. I think he would just say, "Hey, I'm coming for you," and I don't think he does it today. I don't think he comes in. Bruno might be damaged, but there's no ring. So,
all right. So our main event is done, but as this is our special holiday edition, I'm going to give you a couple dark matches as well. Mm-hmm. And my first one involves stables, Leonard.
Okay.
So not only is this a stable versus stable match, there's also a gimmick attached. And let's say we have Camp Cornette versus the Hart family. And what makes this interesting is Owen Hart is a member of both.
Yes.
So I'm envisioning him being the heel Owen Hart. He goes with Camp Cornette, which means that the Hart brothers have to have a substitute for the Hart family, which could just easily be Davey Boy Smith.
I would go with Jim Neidhart.
There you go. Fine. That makes more sense, actually.
So I would say Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart. Was it Bruce and Keith?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so that's 4. And then Camp Cornette is Owen Hart, Davey Boy, Yokozuna.
Vader.
And Vader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and what's the gimmick?
Fans bring the weapons.
Nice. Nice. I know, they did that in ECW. I know in Mick Foley's book, he talked once. He was wrestling Tommy Dreamer, and they were out in the crowd, and he leans back, and someone puts something in his hands, and he doesn't see what it is, but it feels heavy, and he comes forward with it, and he nails Tommy Dreamer in the head with a 2-man kayak.
Yeah. Which is a great story.
Yes, that's a great fans bring the weapons. I gotta go Camp Cornette. They're bigger, they're meaner, they're tougher. I think Keith and Bruce are liabilities.
I agree.
In a match like this.
Brett can't carry the weight there.
If Vader is smashing in the head of a kayak.
That's.
Or if like Yokozuna's dropping a bowling ball on your nuts. I think this is great. This is a great, just chaotic, dark.
What's funny about this is that this era is pretty close. So
yeah,
this match could have happened in reality.
Yeah, well, the Harts, I forget which Survivor Series it was, that the Hart brothers went up against Shawn Michaels and his Knights, because it was originally supposed to be Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler, yeah.
And Lawler got, I think this was at the time where there was the rape accusations against him.
Yes.
So Michaels came in and was with the Knights. So the Hart brothers did work, together in WWE. But
yeah, I mean, they wanted initially, I think it was the famous story is that Bruce wanted to be the guy against Brett leading up to WrestleMania 10.
Yes, Bruce came in and wanted to, from what I remember, I think it was Bruce Pritchard's podcast, that Bruce wanted to eliminate everybody. And wanted to work the whole damn match.
It reminded me
and it was basically Brett that said, this isn't about you, Bruce. We got to pull back a little bit.
He said Owen was the guy, rightfully so. And what you said, he wanted to eliminate everybody. It reminds me of Bruce Pritchard's impersonation of Hardcore Holly at one of the meetings of SmackDown, when I guess they were like trying to think of ideas, and he's like, "How about you give me the belt and I beat everybody?" which is hilarious. You can almost hear Bob Holly saying that.
Yes.
I agree with you though. I think Camp Cornette is the obvious stronger stable here, and it being weapons, like just imagining this happen to me is so much fun. I would have loved this.
This would have been an amazing match, and I understand. I like the fact that if it's a dark main event, it's specifically for the people in the arena, and the fact that they can bring the weapons for it makes it even better.
That's right. So next we are going to do a regular man's match. Well, maybe not regular. We're going to make this a triple threat. We have the early WWF version of Dustin Rhodes. Again.
Okay, so this would have been when he was tagging with Dusty.
Yes.
During the DiBiase feud, DiBiase and Virgil, yes.
Yes, against ECW's Sabu, against Diamond Dallas Page, the WWE not a bad thing, it's a good thing version.
Oh! I gotta go Sabu.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Dustin's way too green and DDP is way too old out the door.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sabu is definitely the strongest. Dustin Rhodes was so green here. It almost seemed like a weird novelty just to see him tag with his father. Like,
Yeah, I think
at that point, I don't think I expected him to still be in the business today.
Yeah, so he definitely got much better than he did.
Yes.
Hey, I if you want to, I do have. Remember, I said I generated 3 matches.
What was your third?
The third is a tag match. I did a tag, so I did a men's and women's and a tag. So we have the new Blackjacks of Bradshaw and Wyndham versus Choten. That's Masahiro Chono and Hiroyoshi Tenzin.
Oh my God.
It was your list. They were on your list. I had to look them up, who they were.
Well,
I know who they are. I didn't know what Choten was. I had to look up who Choten was.
If we're talking about Chono in any way being a part of this, I would have to go with them above the new Blackjacks.
Yes, I think this is a physical match, and I think it devolves into just them beating the hell out of each other. Probably one of those shoot, like it's going to turn into a shoot. They're going to stop cooperating with each other. But I think that Tenzin and Chono probably beat the crap out of them. I think Wyndham takes a walk. He was old and grizzled at this point, and I think Bradshaw is going to just piss him off, and Wyndham is just going to take a walk and good luck, buddy.
Yeah, I definitely see that happen. This would definitely be a physical big man match.
Yeah, that's a lot of meat in the ring with this one.
Yeah. So, wow, what a way to go out on that match. Unless we wanted to have another fictional Christmas character match, I drew the Who's from Whoville against Charlie Brown with Christmas Tree. So
I go with the Who's from Whoville on numbers, because that's like 100
just on numbers.
It's 100 dudes versus an 8-year-old boy with a dilapidated Christmas tree. I go with the Who's.
It's like a mob mentality.
I think they take that tree and they put it somewhere the sun doesn't shine.
That's right.
What the Who's are going to do.
And it's at this point of our fever dreams where we've gone off the rails.
Yes. So we should probably end with.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us. Let us know what you thought of our matchups and who you think would win. Check our shorter videos, segment surgery, random match reviews, and stupid questions. And we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I hope everybody out there had a great Christmas and a great New Year. Hopefully 2023 is a lot better than 2022 for everyone. And let us know what you think of our show. Subscribe to our content. And we hope to bring you many more episodes in 2023. For Leonard, my name is Chad, and we will see you next time. And Alexa, we'll see you out.